Hey, what's up, ladies? Thank you for joining me for another episode of my Friday episode of the Revitalized Womanhood podcast, my To the Core episode, talking all things 4 core categories, right? Body, beliefs, bonds, biz. Now, I wanted to talk about I'm kind of all over the place, but on purpose. I'm a little all over the place because I want to reintroduce myself. I just did a reel the other day, and the audio was the new audio right now that's trending that says, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is, right? And I thought about that and I took it to heart because I get a lot of comments. It's really interesting. I get a lot of comments that say that I'm a boss babe. And I'm not. I'm not a boss babe. It's really funny. So it's interesting that that's the at a glance vibe that I send. Let me tell you my core categories again one more time that I focus on, okay? We've got our beliefs, our bonds, our body. Guess what one is very last? Biz. The business category is very last, and that's on purpose. Okay, I categorize my things, but the biz category is last. And if you have listened to my podcast episodes and not just judged me by my exterior, my business is usually reminding stay-at-home moms how to run their homes, how to run their families like a CEO. So it was interesting. So we just got back from a month-long vacation, my family and I. It was amazing. We were in Costa Rica. We were joined for the first 10 days with the Micklers. And it was so fun. And then Rick's parents came and we had an amazing time. But on the end of that, so here we are getting ready to get going again. Rick's been gone. He got home and he and my son and his dad left for a hog hunt in Texas. And so we've just been scattered. We've been all over the place. I've been trying to get back to work and get settled in my routine again, but he's been gone. So I've also had the baby and done mom life, which is totally normal for me, totally fine. But so Rick got home from this hog hunt with my little boy and they had an amazing time. And it was interesting. The whole weekend while he was gone, I was brushing up on and trying to catch up on my courses that I've signed up for personally myself, because I am a student as well. I am with my women in the Revitalized Sisterhood. I am a student as well. I have coaches. I sign up for things because I am also growing, trying to better myself. And so I have these courses from the Taming Jane Academy with Trina Glines. I had Trina on as one of my guests earlier in January because the topic of that month, our monthly topic in the Revitalized Sisterhood, was nurturing marriages. Nurturing marriages, making marriages stronger, trying to better communicate with our husbands, right? Trying to understand the language that our husband speaks that sometimes gets garbly-gooked in the process of what he's saying and how I interpret it in my brain, right? So anyway, I was catching up on these courses and just all of these aha moments. And it's funny too, because now this month in the Revitalized Sisterhood, our topic of the month is mindset. And a growth mindset versus fixed mindset, and trying to identify the thoughts that we have. Is that a growth mindset or is that a fixed mindset? And so it's really been interesting. And these women, my Revitalized Sisterhood, the members of my private community, I'm getting so much amazing feedback that they're just like, oh my gosh, these topics came at the most perfect time in my life. And I'm like, me too. That's why I picked them. That's what I needed to study on. That's what I was wanting to focus on more for myself personally. And I think Rick and I being together for so long and kind of getting off our groove and not feeling like we were a team and, trying to struggle to get back to where we know we need to be. And it just has been kind of yuck. It's kind of been, we've just not been feeling it. If you follow my Instagram, you see this. I'm pretty crystal clear about what's going on in my personal life. So anyway, I took the opportunity with him being gone, us having some space to brush up on these things. And he got back, and I did some things. I wrote him a letter, I wrote him a little love letter. And while he was away, I was texting him. I was trying to flirt with him and texting him. And he's like, I know what you're doing. So he gets back, and we're sitting there on the bed talking. And he says, I know what you're doing. And I'm like, of course you know what I'm doing. He's like, you've been listening to these and you're trying to, and I'm like, cause I'm jazzed, right? It's like reinvigorated me, right? It's revitalized me, right? To get this training and reminders. That's really what it is. It's a lot of reminders, because some things, yeah, you're like, oh, that's an aha moment. I didn't know that. But a lot of things, they're reminders. They're reminders of things that we know we should be doing. So anyway, because I came out of these amazing courses, I was able to sit there yesterday on the bed, and he coached me. I let my husband coach me. He is an amazing businessman. We have started multiple businesses together. And yes, I say we, because even though he was the one doing the business part of it, I am a sounding board. I am supporting him. I am making sure everything behind the scenes is running so that he can do that. Right? It is a partnership. We are a team. So I just allowed him to imbue this knowledge on me? Is that the right word? Just give it to me. And I shut my mouth, right, Trina? I put tape over my mouth. I shut my mouth. I did not offer up, but I already do this, or, because usually he'll be saying, you should do this or you should do that. And I'm like, but I'm already doing that. Okay, I get what you're saying, but that's my famous line. I get what you're saying, but I'm listening, but I hear what you're saying, but that's not listening. That's not hearing what he's saying. That's me actually not listening and just getting ready to respond, right? Because I want to say something back. So I sat there, I zipped my lips, listened to everything he had to give me. It was great information. And I was jazzed. Yesterday, I was jazzed. I was pumped. I had my leadership call with my squad leaders in our, in the sisterhood, and I was jazzed. They could feel it. I was like, my skin was vibrating. I was pumped. I'm like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this, whatever. And he basically reminded me of what my message is. What is my message? Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Gina, and I created Revitalized Womanhood. I put myself out there like this twice a week, multiple times in my community, but I do this because I am trying to remind women that they are strong and confident. And the reason to remind them that is because I want them to be the amazing, loving wives and mothers. I want them to be the best they can be at that job. That is my most important goal. That is my message. My value is my family. I am a stay-at-home mom. I'm the reason that Rick and I, when we first started dating, he actually said this to me when he was talking to me yesterday. He says, when we were dating, you made it very clear that there were souls in heaven that needed to come down here from me, right? That I had a purpose. My purpose was to get these souls on the earth, right? However you believe, whatever you believe, I knew that my job was to be a mom. My job was to be a mama. And even it's interesting because even after we were married, I tease him that Castle was conceived in anger. I mean, anger. We had been trying for a couple months. It was probably like four or 5 months. And I was terrified. I was so scared. I'm like, I can't have kids. There's something wrong with me. What's wrong? What's going on? We had started doing, the temperature taking and these kind of things. And again, that is nowhere near where some mamas have to get. And it's such a struggle. And my heart breaks for them. And I get that, but it was scary for me. So I don't take that away from myself. It was a scary place. So we were up at his parents', and I guess I won't get into too much detail. But I will tell you that it was a moment where I said, hey, yeah, we got to get out of here and take care of some things. And he was like, no. And I was like, yes, it is happening. I'm sorry, buddy. It's happening. Right. And I had to be very clear with him. And so he reminded me that that's my mission. That's always been my goal. That's always been my purpose that has driven me. And it is my value. It's like one of my favorite things now is James Clear says that he doesn't do yearly resolutions. He doesn't make his New Year's resolutions. He doesn't set his goals. He sets his values. Each year he sets his values. He relists and writes down his values. And then when things come along, he says, okay, I have a speaking event. It's going to be this date. Is that interrupt anything? Whatever. Okay, that's the same time my daughter has this dance recital. Then no. I will not do it because he knows that that's one of his values. And that's just an example. That's not something he said. But for me, I know that my family comes first. I know that. So when I started this, or when I've started any job or anything I've done in our marriage, I know that my family comes first. And I know that's a lot of you as well. I know you feel the same way. So I'm speaking to you, the women who get me. You understand this. This is our priority. And whether we have to do things on the side or have a business or we do PTA, whatever, the main thing is you have to ask yourself, is this taking me away from my family too much? Right. So I had to sit down and say that as well. And so same with Rick. He says, we had an agreement when I started this community, and it was back in July when it started. And he said, okay, I'll give you till, and not that he's saying I'll give you until, but we had plans to travel. We had plans that this would affect, right? So we had to have the discussion. And he said, okay, let's give ourselves, okay, that's a better way of saying it. How about we give ourselves until November? Let's see how it goes. Let's give ourselves till November, and we will decide that we're going to go travel, right? And I was like, yes, we're going to go travel. Give ourselves till November. Perfect. Well, XYZ happens. And of course, like life does, my community that I wanted to launch the month previously wasn't ready for whatever reason, and I didn't feel like I could open it. And so it didn't get open till October. So it got pushed back 1 month. So that obviously put November, we're leaving to travel, into a different place. And so he said, okay, then let's say January. Let's just make it a clean new year. Let's just say January. Okay. Well, so kept working, kept doing everything I needed to do, and I'm loving it, and nothing's suffering. We're not doing anything. But Rick said, he came to me before January in December, and he says, hey, that's our date. That's what are we going to do? And I said, we're going to travel. It's not where I hoped it would be, and that's okay. And we're going to go travel because that is my commitment to my family that I want to make, that's the life that we're living right now, is to make as many memories with our kids as we can while they're this age, and experience as many things with them as we can while they're this age. And that is our family value. That's our goal. And I said, no, we are going. So then again, he just came to me and he says, oh man, babe, you have a lot on your plate now, this and this, that, and the other. And he said, so in March, when I get back from this hunt, do you still want to go? Do you still plan on going? And I said, yes, absolutely. I will be ready. I will have everything done the way it needs to be done, because I want that to be what we do for our family. That's my goal. So, and that was the other thing when we were in Costa Rica. I think I said to myself, okay, I'm going to work 10 hours a week. That's okay. That's a safe thing to say. I can work 10 hours a week. And the ladies in my community, they know, and everybody with us knows, I don't know that I even worked maybe 2 hours a week. I think I worked because we were making memories, right? We were doing the things as a family and with our friends. And that's what was important to me. I tell my ladies in the sisterhood all the time, if something comes up with my family and that means that I can't lead a call, that's what it is. I choose them first, and I expect the same from them. I know they are moms. I know they are wives. I encourage them to have these strong values that are family first. And I think that's so important, right? So allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Gina. I am a wife and a mother. And anything after that is just extra. It's just extra. Just like me, I'm just extra. So I hope that was not just all over the place, but a good reminder of who I am and what I'm doing in here, and what keeps me doing it is these women who I'm seeing that I'm helping them figure out the best way to prioritize their time and be productive in their day so that they can do all the things they need to do and have time, more time with their loved ones, more time for connection and more time for themselves. Because ladies, when you are giving from an empty cup, what's that worth? What's that look like, right? I think I got a comment on one of my YouTube videos that said, I'm doing all this and not overwhelmed, not burned out at all. And I was like, good on you. Good for you. You've got it figured out. Because I know me, if I'm trying to do everything, I'm not doing anything well. So that's what it is. Well, I put the Junes back up. If you're watching this on the YouTube episode, I put the Junes back up, which obviously they're not all Junes, but the Junes. So the June Cleaver, this goes perfectly into why I chose these ladies to be my inspiration behind me. The Junes, I call them the Junes. The June Cleaver philosophy. I think she is so cool. Okay, this woman is the one that everybody in the neighborhood, all the kids, go to when they need some advice or whatever. June Cleavers got some good advice. But she is like so proud of the fact that she is a wife. She is so proud of the fact that she is a mother. She loves what she's doing. She loves it. I recently said in one of my posts that I went through my Instagram and I unfollowed, I did this, and I encourage you to do it as well, because I think, especially where we're talking about mindset, I think it seeps in, and the negativity, even though you don't know you're not recognizing it as negativity, it is. You're putting things into a fixed mindset that is not a good thing, and it's adding toxins to your brain. So I went through and I unfollowed a whole bunch of accounts that I was following that are like maybe satirical, like funny comedy posts. And let me tell you, they have hundreds of thousands of followers, these accounts. And I get it. I see the humor, ha ha ha. But if you look deeper inside where the humor's coming from, it's really sad. It's really unfortunate, sad and unfortunate that it's so funny and so followed and so cheered for and shared. Because what these accounts are making fun of my husband, making fun of being a stay-at-home mom, and not even making fun of, like, making comedy and making light out of the fact that a mom is struggling and cannot keep up with her housework, or making fun of the fact that her kids run the show, or making fun of the fact that my husband is lazy or doesn't do anything with the kids or can't be trusted to load the dishwasher. It's sad. It's really sad. So all of these accounts, I started looking at them, before I was scrolling, and it's like, ha ha ha, like wine o'clock couldn't come sooner. Like these moms that have to, can't wait till 5 o'clock comes around so they can have their glass of wine and shut down and numb everything that just happened in the day. What are we talking about as a society? What are we talking about that this is so popular, hundreds of thousands of followers, so shared, so talked about? Like, okay, you made a choice to be a mother, right? You made a choice to be a wife. You made a choice whether or not you're communicating with your husband about the fact that you need help with housework. You need him to help with the laundry. You need help with, okay, you don't need to nag him. He's not one of your children. And these accounts, that's all they're saying. They're saying that my husband is useless and all he's good for is to poke fun at. That's not healthy. That's not a good marriage. That's not strength. That's weakness. And I started seeing these things as creeping into my brain. And even though I don't think that way about Rick, it started kind of coming up like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe he is lazy because he won't take out the garbage. Maybe he is not a good husband because he doesn't clean up the toys after the baby plays with them. Like, that's so stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. He is a great husband. He is an amazing father. That's the stuff that I wish would share, like, and trend and go viral, right? Oh my gosh, my husband is an amazing provider for my family. Guess what? He goes to work and is away from his kids who he loves to play with. He goes to work and has to spend time away from them to make sure that I don't have to work, to make sure that I get to be home and raise our kids and make sure that no stranger is raising my kids, right? Wow. Good job, husband. I love you for that. And I respect you for that. And thank you for that. How about some gratitude for that? My kids, right? They are not a nuisance. They are not an annoyance. They are, yes, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we have to breathe it out. I get it. I get that it's not always rainbows and unicorns. I'm not saying that, but I'm also not going to sit and complain about, oh my gosh, my kids are so hard. Oh my gosh, being a mom is so hard. Oh my gosh, I did see something. What was it? Funny. It was so funny. Rick sent me this comedian. I think it was Bill Murr. Is that his name? Bill Murr, the bald guy. He's pretty like, whoa, I'm just going to warn you right now. If you go watch his comedy, it's hilarious, but he'll tell it how it is. And it is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just said that. Anyway, he was doing a stand-up act talking about, oh my gosh, motherhood and mom life is so hard. It's like the hardest job there is. And he goes on to talk about how, have you ever heard of a mom being killed like you would a crab boat fisherman? Have you ever heard of a mom being knocked out from a crab pod? Have you ever heard of a mom getting lost down in a mine shaft? Or have you ever heard of a mom being shot in the grocery store or whatever, doing laundry, right? The washing machine attacked her. Like, it's so true. Why is it such a socially acceptable thing to have these Instagram accounts that just make fun of things that are so noble and so amazing? Motherhood. A husband who works really hard for his family, being a woman and caring about yourself, right? Not in the way that's like, oh, I have to go get my nails done and then I've got to get my Botox and then right? No. How about a woman who cares about herself enough to take a flippin' bath and decompress from whatever she needs, or gets enough sleep at night so that the next day she can be happy and giving from a full cup. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry. That turned into a rant and I did not mean for it to. This is about the Junes. So June Cleaver, this is about the Junes. She is so proud to put on her makeup and do her hair and put on her beautiful little dress and be waiting at the door with the martini for her husband and ready to rub his feet. Okay, right? I love that. And not Rick's like, what? You've never done that for me in your life. So don't get me wrong, but I love the concept of that, right? We should be honoring our husbands and respecting them and speaking lovingly to each other, right? Creating an atmosphere for this kind of things for our kids. Things are caught, not taught, right? Not screaming in front of each other and letting the kids hear this and think that this is marriage. Kiss your husband every morning and every night. Kiss each other. Let your kids see that. Let your kids be grossed out by that and be like, ew, mom, gross, right? Let them see that that is good, a good relationship, right? That's a good relationship for them to be thinking that that's what they need to be doing. What else? You guys, these are all just reminders for me too. These are reminders for me too. I need the reminders. I'm reminding myself. When I say it, I'm reminding myself. My kids, I made an actual goal to myself to hug them every time they came into the room, because with my boys, I don't know, you've heard me say it before on here. If you've listened to that episode, I don't know, I say a lot of things, but my boys are getting older and they're not these little squishy babies anymore. So I still luckily have my squishy baby, and maybe it's time for another one because he's not even a squishy baby anymore. But when they're that age, I am just all in it, like squishing them and hugging them and kissing them and loving on them and down on the floor playing with them. And I am that mom. But for some reason, now that and the 8-year-old, I still can do that with him. He's a little more, what's the word? Haze. Adventurous. But anyway, we won't go there. So he's a little harder, or he's a little easier. I still kind of can do all that thing. But Castle's now, he thinks he's like a man. He's like in that weird 11-year-old stage where he's a little sassy and he's testing the boundaries of what he can and can't get away with. And it doesn't feel as natural for me to just snuggle him. It doesn't. It's weird. It's a weird thing. And luckily, I have Rick, because I used to think, and I had this aha moment. I'll share it again. I had this aha moment at our retreat, our first retreat here in Southern Utah in December. Anyway, I shared with my ladies there that I had this aha moment during our mindset coaching with Lisa Brown, that I come down on Castle so much, and Hayes too. I feel like that I'm this, and single moms, bless your hearts, you have to be the mom and the dad. But I feel like if I'm not teaching him this lesson, he's not going to be a good person. If I'm not disciplining him, he's not going to be a good person. If I don't make him do this, that, and the other XYZ, I have to get after him, or he's not going to be a good person. Well, guess what? I don't have to do that. I have Rick. They have a dad who will teach them these things. They have a dad who's doing these things that are caught, not taught, that they are watching him and learning these things from him. I don't have to do that. I can be the mom that just hugs them and squeezes them. So I had the aha moment, but that was one of my goals, was to just hug my kids every time they came into a room, and they were like, this is so weird, but they were with it. They were there for it. So I need to remind myself again to do this. Don't let these practices, like after you've done it and you feel better about it, don't let these practices go, right? Don't get out of the habit. So, woo, did you guys make it through that episode with me? It was a little all over the place. I knew it was going to be, but I hope you were with me for it. I hope you were on, like, Gina, I'm getting what you're laying down. I'm with you. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Gina, and I am so thankful to have you here with me every time we do this, every episode you listen to, and I'm so grateful for you to be with me on my message. If you would, please, I will ask you again, go rate and review the podcast. I think you do it on iTunes only. I don't think anything else does the rate and review, but on iTunes, rate and review the podcast. I would love that. It goes so far in helping me move up in the podcast atmosphere in the world, and it gets my message out to more people. So I would love that. Or share it, and share it with all of the amazing women in your life. They need this. The sisterhood is here. They need this. I'm here for it, and I'm excited to meet them. Send them my way. Thanks, you guys, and we'll talk to you next week.